My name is Maisha with Plentiful Hair Studio, and this video is about why I had to raise my sew-in prices. Um, um, I've been licensed cosmetologist for 19 years, and I started off as a hair extension specialist, and I also specialized in sew-in weaves. Now, weaves, as much as I love weaves, weaves are the most disrespected hair extension technique out there. Number one, it's the only hair extension service where the hair costs more than the service. Number two, the $50 weave shop and those type of discount weaves demonstrated a lower value for the weave, even though when I started doing hair extensions and weaves, it was a luxury service. Also, a lot of the negativity surrounding damage from weaves have given weaves a bad rap. And also, there are some terrible weaves out here. There's some weaves that look really nice on the outside, but when you open them up, it's a hot mess on the inside. So these things affected how weaves were perceived everywhere. So I am a hair loss specialist, and upon opening our own hair loss studio, we do non-surgical hair replacement and hair restoration. For a lot of my clients, when they would come in for hair replacement, choosing like a weave with a closure piece was the option they chose a lot of the times because it was familiar, it was very non-committal, and it was the easiest choice to do, right? So even though I was doing a lot of different hair replacement services, I would still continue to do weaving. Now, also, I had clients from before I became a hair loss specialist who, when I was just a hair extension specialist, that I continued to do in the studio. So I did do weaves for hair replacement, but I also had clients who did not have hair loss but were loyal clients to me, so I continued to provide the service. At that time in the studio, Plentiful Hair Studio, at that time, my income was all over the place. I was working 12 to 14 hour days. I wasn't making 12 to 14 hour money, but I was working 12 to 14 hour days. I would come home from work and my kids would be asleep. My husband would be asleep. I would just eat something and go to bed and start again the next day. But lo and behold, the pandemic. And when the pandemic came, of course, it forced you to be in the house. Thank God we were fine. The business was fine financially. But I did realize that there were some changes that I had to make in being in the house during the pandemic with my kids. I saw that my kids probably needed me more, you know what I mean? And just being in the house with them at that little time, I realized that I need to be more present with my kids, and I also felt like I had to be more present in my marriage. So the pandemic gave me an opportunity to look back and see what I needed to change and what I was unhappy with. So after the pandemic, I had to come back and I had to make some changes. I had to make some changes where I could be more present and work more reasonable hours, and I also had to change the way I was working because it wasn't making sense. The first thing I did when I went back to work was I did take on a part-time schedule, meaning we were only open for 20 hours a week. So that meant that I had to optimize my time wisely. I hired a business coach, and me and my business coach looked at my numbers, and we saw that the weaves were taking up so much time. After the pandemic, I didn't immediately start doing weaves again because, that was my longest service. So I really wanted to minimize the amount of time that I was in the salon because I didn't want to be there too long. You don't know if the cooties were around. At the time, everybody was still very afraid of COVID. So I didn't want to be in there for hours and hours and hours. So I didn't initially introduce that back to the services I was offering. When I did introduce it back, I raised the price a little bit. Now, before it was $200, and now I went to $250. So when I went to $250, I thought, okay, it did take off a few clients, but not really. It didn't take off a lot. But after the pandemic, because I had a lot of clients who had hair loss from having COVID and different things like that, the stress and things like that, I had an explosion of clients who wanted weaves. Like, it was an explosion of clients who wanted weaves. And it was so much so that my hair loss clients couldn't book anything. My hair replacement clients couldn't book maintenance. I couldn't get any new hair replacement clients. And people couldn't even come in for maintenance. So the maintenance from the weaves and the weaves took up a huge majority of my schedule. Because of that, my income in the salon decreased significantly because my weaves were $250, right? And that was the lowest service that I offered. And they were taking up so much of my time that I couldn't do anything else. So I had to make a decision. So I reached out to my business coach and I had to make a decision. Now, my business coach had already advised me that going from 200 to 250 was not enough. But it wasn't the service that I was holding on to. It was the people attached to that service. I had clients that were coming to me for years, and I felt bad. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to abandon them. So I was holding on for that reason. So I had to go up on the price. And the thing about prices and clients, my clients never felt like it's business. Most of my clients feel special to me, and they are. But when you go into prices and raising prices, that is always an indication that it is business, and it's not always received well. So I raised the prices. I lost about more than half of my clients, but I didn't lose the income because I raised the price. I still had that same income from the weaves that I would have had normally, right? And also the people that comes to get the weave, they really want it. You know, it's not, they just really, if you're gonna pay, you really want it. So I made all of my hair loss, all of my services geared towards hair loss for that reason. I had to start charging for consultations because consultations were taking up a huge part of my time. And because we offer private consultations, when people no call, no show, I'm just sitting in there with a cold chair. So I started to charge for the consultations, and everything started going super smooth. Yes, my clients, some were upset. Yes, some talked mess about me. Yes, you can't please everybody. Yes, it was hard to lose clients that you've been seeing for 10 years, but you have to do it because at the end of the day, your client is there to get a service. That's it. They're not gonna always hype you up. They're not gonna always market for you. They're not gonna always share that they come to you. In general, my clients never want to tell people that they come because they don't want me to get too busy, they say. They also don't want to see their friends in the salon either. So that's another thing that they do. A prime example of a wonderful client for me is a client who's faithful, who comes all the time and trusts you and lets you do whatever you want to do. Trust your opinion, your judgment, your expertise. That's a great client to me. Also, that type of client, I have great clients like that. But those clients, a lot of them, come faithfully, won't go with anybody else, trust me, but will not refer a single soul to me. And I understand that part of the business as well. So that is an indication for you as a hairstylist, as a hair loss professional, as a professional in this beauty industry, that it's not their job. It's your job though. It's your job to make sure that you do what's best for your business. Because at the end of the day, that client, those clients, the clients that don't want to come to you no more because you raised the price, they're going to find somebody to do their hair. They're going to. The pandemic showed me that. I didn't come back immediately after we were allowed to go back to work. And my clients all found somebody to do their hair. They're going to. You have to take care of you. You have to take care of your home, and you have to take care of your business. Okay, and this video is not for clients. Okay, this is a business video for professionals to get clarity on how to manage your life. Because when I'm 43, when I started doing hair, if you weren't in the salon open to close, they felt like you didn't have clients, and they felt like you didn't know how to do hair. That's what they used to think. and that is bullshit. Okay. Also, most importantly, do not give discounts. I know you love her. I know she's your favorite client. She's so sweet. She brings you peach cobbler. Yes, and sometimes when she goes to Chick-fil-A, she gets you a drink too. Oh, don't let her go to Starbucks and get you a drink. She's so sweet. Then if you're gonna tip her or give her a reward, bring her some coffee sometimes too. Have her coffee waiting on her when she gets there. But do not discount your services. Give nobody a discount. Charge uniform prices. People don't respect free. They don't respect cheap. So make sure you price your weaving accordingly. My weaves take a minimum of 4 hours. That's part of the thing that I'm trying to say. I put a lot of time in the weaving. My weaves take a minimum of 4 hours. So because they take a minimum of 4 hours, you have to charge for your nice location you have to help clients who need weaving. You're not going to be able to afford that location if you don't price yourself accordingly. Right? You can bring the luxury back in a weave if you want to. You can. It doesn't have to be something that you just do and make it. You can really make it an experience for your client. That's one. Two, your clients. You're going to lose clients if you raise your prices. You have to raise your prices, and you're going to lose them. I lost a lot, but I've gained so many who don't mind my prices at all. And I know you're scared, because I was scared. And let me tell you how scared I was. I charged the same thing for 10 years straight. That's how afraid I was to step out of my comfort zone and raise my price, because I did not want to offend my clients. And guess what? Most of those clients left me when I raised my prices. The clients that I was coming in on days when I was sick, clients that I was rescheduling it, they left me. So they're going to leave you too. So you're not going to leave you. So make sure you take care of you and your home and your house and your business, and do good work and be happy, and don't be drained. You know, honestly, work can be hard, but work should not kick your ass. So that's my video. That's the reason why I had to raise my prices on weaves. I had to raise it because I'm not gonna be dramatic and say weaves were gonna put me out of business, but it was close. So if you have any questions, www.plentifulhairstudio.com. I also do classes. Believe it or not, I have extensive knowledge on every hair extension technique you can imagine. And I do one-on-one classes. So if you're interested in a one-on-one class from me, let me know. I don't mind. www.plentifulhairstudio.com. And my name is Maisha.